Hello all and welcome back. I hope everyone is doing really well. Lots of news again to cover today from across the crypto space, and of course a deep dive into news surrounding HEDERA. There have been several different releases from HEDERA themselves alongside the HBAR Foundation as activity continues to ramp up on the fastest, greenest DLT that exists to date. That being said, we are still seeing a lot of choppiness across the cryptocurrency markets. We are seeing a return to form in the equities markets, the likes of the S&P 500 and the US equities indexes, and potentially we'll start to see positive momentum return to cryptocurrencies. All whilst that's happening though, these asset managers keep scooping up Bitcoin on the spot exchanges. So a $130 billion asset manager, Hightower, has just disclosed buying $68 million worth of Bitcoin spot. Alongside that, $438 billion asset manager, Susquehanna, has just disclosed a $1.3 billion Bitcoin ETF portfolio. So as we can see, we are seeing more and more of these asset and equity management companies begin to pick up spot Bitcoin wherever possible. And we've already seen the likes of BlackRock again talking about pension funds and other large-scale trusts beginning to open their arms towards cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. And of course, that's off the back of as well money market fund tokenization on HEDERA being the big news over the last couple of weeks. There is an awful lot going on behind the scenes when it comes to these asset managers, and big money, big institutional money is flowing into cryptocurrency. Messari have just released their new State of HEDERA Q1 2024 report. A key update being the DeFi ecosystem was jump-started by the success of SaucerSwap Labs, of course, that we all know and love. Quarter-over-quarter metrics are as follows. Active addresses has increased by 145%. We've seen DeFi, or decentralized finance, total value locked, or TVL, increase by a further 87%. We've also seen DEX volume increase by a factor of 4 at 408%. Of course, the majority of that coming from SaucerSwap Labs. The quarter-over-quarter change there, 414% of that on SaucerSwap Labs. HeliSwap as well increasing by 130% quarter-over-quarter. I will leave this Messari report link down in the description for you guys, as it does give further statistics as to the state of HEDERA, and of course they do release these on a regular basis. Importantly though, average DEX volumes are up, stablecoin market caps appear to be up, the DeFi TVL, active addresses, staked supply has sort of maintained where it was previously. Of course, daily transactions has increased massively, up nearly 66%. Literally across the board in nearly every single metric, we are seeing increases. Revenue as well in USD, you can see Q4 of 2023 at 1.6 million, dropped off slightly in terms of the transaction throughput in Q1 of 2024, down to 1.1 million, in line with the average daily transactions between the quarters. We saw strong growth throughout 2023, and that is likely to continue throughout 2024. In terms of processing transactions, though, HEDERA has now processed more mainnet transactions than the next top 100 networks combined. So take the sum of all the transactions processed on the next top 100 networks, HEDERA has surpassed that. Real-world use cases solving real-world problems to drive real-world value. So the cumulative transaction volume now, from Genesis to May 2024, HEDERA being the purple line, is now exceeding 50 billion transactions, and it's absolutely dwarfing everything else. Of course, you've got Solana in there. We all know about those vote transactions as well on Solana. I get questioned on this an awful lot, and I actually published a ton of different infographics over on my Twitter. I've covered it in many videos. A lot of people say, what's the crack with HBAR transactions? Are they real? I see it on sort of Reddit, Twitter, YouTube comments, etc. Yes, they are real world transactions. Unfortunately, high volume and transaction throughput so far in the cryptocurrency space has probably been tarnished slightly with the brush of Solana, where they include vote transactions. So of course they are hugely inflated on Solana. The likes of HEDERA though, we've got some very large scale use cases, the lion's share of that being 𝗥𝗚𝗏.io, which is effectively a supply chain tracking solution built natively on HEDERA, and of course is using that ledger in order to immutably log the records of apparel across the globe. Some of the largest apparel manufacturers. Again, dedicated videos on my channel looking at the 𝗥𝗚𝗏.io solution in more detail, as well as many other use cases that have either been built or are looking to be built on top of HEDERA. The HBAR Foundation has announced support for HEDERA token service in the HEDERA wallet snap for MetaMask. This now allows Web 3.0 enthusiasts and developers to introduce new tokens on the HEDERA network via MetaMask. So the MetaMask snap for HEDERA has been around for a while now. I think majority of people within the ecosystem continue to use specifically developed wallets because the feature sets are fantastic. So of course, things like Hashpack, and there are many other wallets as well on HEDERA. But now this again opens up the ability for potentially people that aren't native to HEDERA, cross-chain, etc. It's really easy for them to add HEDERA as a wallet to their MetaMask. That's been the case for a while, but now the HEDERA token service is being supported. So you've got other native tokens and things like NFTs, etc. via Web 3.0. We've got the multi-trillion-dollar credit union industry being primed for disruption with DLT technology, with their recent announcement of regulatory approval from the NCUA for Web3 native DeFi federal credit unions. BankSocial.io is leading the way, built on HEDERA. There was a Forbes article recently that has featured Bank Social, so we can see directly from their Twitter. Forbes have done a feature on how we are building a new model for our member-owned banking. We're excited to be leading the charge in multi-chain way that incorporates HEDERA's hash graph as our core layer. The evolution is here. We can see here from John Brett, my latest story covers how credit unions are exploring blockchain and distributed ledger technologies rather than Bitcoin, and companies such as Bank Social and We Are Metallicus banking on blockchain with credit union collaborations via Forbes Crypto. So we can see, of course, Bank Social being a solution built natively on HEDERA that sets to revolutionize the current member model for member-owned banking and tokenization of real-world assets. Again, I've covered Bank Social in the past, and I'll continue to cover them going forward as they're doing some very big things regarding that. Congratulations to 𝗟𝗚𝗡𝗞𝗦 from the HEDERA Twitter account for raising a further $1 million to realize their vision of bringing Web3 gaming to the masses and showcasing the potential of DLT to fundamentally transform player engagement. So 𝗟𝗚𝗡𝗞𝗦 is still developing behind the scenes. Again, this is a AAA title that is being built on top of HEDERA, or leveraging HEDERA, I should say. So 𝗟𝗚𝗡𝗞𝗦 has raised that for the first Web3 RPG game based in Saudi Arabia, flagship game of the GCC region. Of course, again, we should see some major updates out of these guys in the near future. Leveraging the stablecoin studio, Shinhan Bank, South Korea's oldest bank, developed the South Korean won KRW as a real-world asset on the HEDERA network. The pilot was a continuation of the earlier proof of concept with the HEDERA Governing Council member and Africa's largest bank, SB Group. The pilot achieved real-time settlement and real-time foreign exchange rate integration across the Thai baht, new Taiwanese dollar, and the South Korean won, in a test environment that aligns to the current production capabilities. So we can see here before the disintermediation, cost-cutting, transparency, and real-time operation of using something natively on HEDERA. The operating hours previously for these FX exchanges effectively were traditional banking hours. Afterwards, you have the potential to be 24/7. The lead time reduction is absolutely monumental, probably in the factors of almost millions, from 1 to 10 days down to 2.5 seconds, probably with finality as well. Real-time traceability is, of course, being supported by design, the settlement currency being in the remit tokens, and the charges as well being factors smaller. When we look at this, the intermediary fees, $20 to $30, TTF from $0 to $6.2, as well as transfer fees ranging up to $40, all gets cut down drastically to $0.05 or 5 cents per transaction fee. Because the stablecoin studio leverages both the HEDERA token service and HEDERA smart contract service, any EVM-based stablecoin issuers can participate using the framework going forward. This is absolutely massive, and again, shows the ability and the credence behind use cases that can be developed on top of HEDERA, because the native technology itself supports many different operations. By building on the stablecoin studio, issuers benefit from the highly scalable nature of the HEDERA token service at nearly 10,000 transactions per second. Also, we talk about throttles in here as well, and the additional programmability of the EVM, unlocking an unprecedented degree of stablecoin flexibility and power. So we can see how these things all wrap up with this hybrid architecture in order to enable interoperability with native tokens for customized programmability. Again, there was more information about the pilot. I will try and leave a link in the description for you guys who want to read on in more detail. Again, massive moves forward, and again, shows the power of the use cases that are being developed on HEDERA. This year at Milan's prestigious iSalon Official, 25,000 attendees attended the Baxter ID RWA authentication and engagement solution powered by Myotech, and of course that was built on top of HEDERA. Baxter ID encapsulates the unique journey of every Baxter design, connecting traditional Italian artisanship with a new layer of digital engagement and that acknowledges originality, guarantees provenance, and allows for exclusive access point to bespoke content and experiences. The Baxter ID app is an all-in-one portal for authenticity, where a single scan brings Baxter's Italian craftsmanship history and personalized content straight to the end user. So you can see here, the idea being is that you've got QR codes on the products or whatever they are. Effectively, you can scan that. That's all logged immutably on the HEDERA chain itself. And of course, that means any new owner, current or future, has the ability to effectively see a real-time history of that particular product from inception or cradle to grave, effectively. Each part of the Baxter collection is matched with a secure blockchain-based digital certificate of authenticity, giving collectors instant access to provenance and connected experiences. And of course, this is really important for these luxury kind of goods. I'm sure many of you have seen it in the likes of, I think, the sort of sneaker or trainer industry. Even sites like eBay now effectively are having to do these really convoluted ways of sellers having to ship the product directly to eBay themselves for them to then verify the authenticity of a product to then ship that onto the customer, because the number of fakes within the industry is growing at a rapid or unprecedented rate. Solutions like this that Baxter have implemented, of course, on a different scale because they are artisan goods and worth an awful lot more in terms of their monetary value, solve problems like this instantaneously without really strange workaround solutions such as I have to send my product to a middleman for them to guarantee authenticity. Instead, you can literally scan that QR code, saving time and money in order to prove and verify ownership, because of course it's immutably logged on HEDERA. You can begin exploring the Baxter ID mobile app and collection here. So there's more information about this, but again, it just goes to show another use case from a different realm being developed on HEDERA. Axela's network as well, interchain amplifier pilots for permissionless connectivity across 68 networks, including Bitcoin, Stacks, Moonbeam, Base, and the EVM, have been joined by the HBAR Foundation or HEDERA. This builds on our DeFi 2.0 strategy, enabling interoperability for institutions and retail. Once integrated with Axelar mainnet, the Axelar mainnet amplifier will automate routing and translation across Axelar's growing open network of interconnected blockchains. Designed to run via an on-chain smart contract, Amplifier will leverage the security guarantees of the Axelar network to quickly bootstrap new cross-chain paths, expanding use cases, liquidity, and user bases, something that's really important to HEDERA, and it is now available on the Axelar DevNet. For HEDERA, this means increased access to and from the ecosystem, opening up the efficiencies of DeFi and DEXs like SourceSwap Labs to the wider Web3 landscape. We're proud to be among the first to join this pilot alongside Stacks, Moonbeam, and the Ironfish crypto network. Again, really interesting and big moves forward for the HEDERA ecosystem. Cross-chain is the way we're going to drive a lot of adoption towards HEDERA. Many people that have tried HEDERA then realize how powerful it really is. I'm going to round up then with two mainstays from the HEDERA ecosystem, SourceSwap Labs, and a final update from Hashpack, which is kind of off the back of that. So a development update from SourceSwap Labs. We're thrilled to share the latest progress on the SourceSwap web app, server, and API. Our team have been working very hard to introduce new features, optimize performance, and enhance the overall user experience. Here's what we've accomplished so far. Front-end developments then, so governance, drafted governance pages and backbone work to support queries and voting mechanisms, devised mechanisms to pass transaction bytes to backend for validation and private submit key signatures. We've got a collaborators carousel, implemented design and functionality changes with the latest version currently in review. Swap success modals, so completed design and functionality changes for those. Max transaction fees implemented on transaction creation and deployed to dev, looping in UI requirements to add to the swap page. We've got MoonPay integration, which is resolving no KYB blockers. Back-end development, so validation cloud deployment, deployed to production and looks stable, revised retry logic and error logging. Mirror node calls are now attempting validation cloud with fallback to the public mirror nodes. They've chunked pool updates as well, so synced with the new team and deployed to production, refactored swap and deposit socket emissions, seeing a significant decrease in pools V1 server requests as anticipated, swap quoting, V1, V2 quote logic synced with the team, cleaned and staged into multiple PRs. Pull requests and initial util work merged into development, temporal integrations, further performance optimizations, Lari optimizations as well, and infinite data stores. Proposal incoming for making environment variable management less error prone and explicit, along with a Node.js 18 upgrade. Looking further ahead, they're excited about the upcoming developments, including continuing the migration of cron jobs to temporal, improving sync event processing efficiency, finalizing the swap page UI with the max transaction fee integration. We appreciate your ongoing support and feedback. Please don't hesitate to reach out with any questions or concerns. But it just goes to show there is a long list of technical updates effectively taking place behind the scenes in order for the source swap experience to continue being world-class. And of course, that is very important to the HEDERA ecosystem. Finally then as well, off the back of some of those updates, the Hashpack wallet, so version 9.9, we've seen Token Swap v2 go live. So this is the in-wallet swaps, of course, being powered by Source Swap Labs. The token detail updates are now live. Upgrading the swap system, they now support Source Swap Labs v2 pools as well as multi-hop. This should result in less swap failures and more competitive quotes. Of course, they take a small cut additional on top of what Source Swap would usually take. You'll also notice it's much faster to load. This was a much needed update and sets up for exciting DeFi features going forward. So further developments coming from the Hashpack team. They've also spent some time to add more information to the token detail page, things like token TVL and your trade history. Added HBAR token icon to the history items, automatically select filter when opening asset selectors, as well as token icons from the backlog. So again, major updates from across all the infrastructure teams that are building on top of HEDERA. Hopefully you guys did find this video interesting. If you did, leave a like, drop a comment if you've got something to say. I do try and respond to as many of them as I possibly can. I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.